This broadcast will start in 15 seconds. This broadcast will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, The Voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Good morning, Stocktonians, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tales and Tips. I'm so excited today to have with me several members from the Rotary Club of Lodi, and as you may or may not know, I am a new member of the Rotary Club of Lodi, and I'm really excited because there are so many wonderful local and international projects that we do, and we're going to be talking about all of those. I'm honored to have with me to my immediate right Philip Sherwood, who's the current president of the Rotary Club of Lodi, Mike Hodge, who's the president-elect, and Mary Ann Sullivan, who's the project project coordinator for the dictionary distribution. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to have each of you start with talking about how long you've been a member of the Rotary Club of Lodi, why you participate, and what it means to you. Let's start with you, Philip.
Okay, well,
Good morning.
I actually have, good morning, 9 years of experience in Rotary, but the last 2 years, 2.5 years with Lodi Rotary itself. And I joined Rotary actually first time in Perth, Western Australia.
Wow.
In 1977. And it was the Rotary Club of Rossmoyne, which is a suburb of Perth. And the reason why I joined it is I was a Rotary Foundation Ambassador Scholar at the University of Western Australia. And from that role, I was asked to join a Rotary Club. And I've always been interested in service all my life. And I think the giving of service is not only a civic duty, but a moral duty.
And how do you feel that the Rotary Club of Lodi differs from other Rotary clubs?
Well, it's an older club. It's celebrating its 100th anniversary in 2021, so it has a rich heritage of service to the Lodi community. And there have been a lot of very notable people who have been members of the club. And I think it's going to be around for another 100 years because of the foundation that it's built in the city.
Awesome, awesome. Let's go to you.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mike.
My journey with the Rotary Club started in 2016 after I returned from a mission trip with an organization called Wine to Water. I had gone to Wine to Water with my wife to learn how to build water filters and learn about water purification and the growing need for water in the country, in the world. And after I came back, I remembered that sometime back, Phil had mentioned to me that he was in the Rotary. And so I followed up with that and joined the Rotary Club in 2016. And my passion is really for doing projects, international and local projects.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And Mary Ann, last but not least, tell us how long you've been a member of the Lodi Rotary Club and your event with distributing dictionaries.
Okay. My story with Rotary begins in August of 1989. I was third woman into Stockton East Rotary in Stockton.
Wow.
And which is an honor, you know, to be the third woman in and accepted. And I've been in Rotary, this is my 15th year. And I had to take time off because of the economy and working full time. And I love Rotary. I love giving back to my community. And I am so excited to be a member of the Lodi Rotary Club. I joined last January, and it's just an honor to be with these guys.
Awesome, and you're already coordinating an event. I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
yes. Always a Rotarian, always busy.
Awesome.
You know. So my project this last year was to coordinate and distribute 1,245 dictionaries to not only the Lodi Unified School District third graders, but this year we brought in Oakview Elementary School on Collier Road, and we distribute dictionaries to third graders.
And to me, that's so awesome, and I love that you're heading up that project. I had been a member of the Rotary Club of Stockton on and off for over 10 years. I've chaired events with them, and one of my favorite events has always been going to the different schools and giving out the dictionaries to the third graders. And they're so excited. It's a book that they can call their own, and it has so much more information than just words, and it shows the children that the community cares about them. And so I think that project is so important.
Well, I was with a Rotarian, Jerry Fry, and he was doing his talk to the third graders, and it was fabulous because he just looks at the kids and he says, well, a dictionary is Google in a book. And they were so excited. We mentioned Google, so we updated a dictionary, you know, and the printed word, and it was fun. So next year, that's going to be the theme.
Awesome.
A dictionary
Google.
is Google in a book.
I love it. I love it. And I can't go forward without giving a shout out to Judy Chambers. I believe that she was the first woman Rotarian in Stockton.
Yes.
I know that she was in the Rotary Club of Stockton, and she has just paved the way for other women to participate. And it's wonderful to know that so many people in the community care about making a difference. I'm going to go back to you, Philip, and let's talk about the local projects that the Rotary Club of Lodi participates in.
Okay. Let me just, to answer it, give some context. Rotary is organized around what is called avenues of service, and there are 4 primary areas: community service, international service, youth service, and vocational service. And our projects for the Lodi Rotary Club fall into each of these categories, some of which sort of overlap. You might be serving youth, but it's also community at the same time. But we have a number of projects. This year, we will probably spend over $24,000 on service to the community and internationally. Let me talk about one that, besides Marianne's project, we also are involved with a district speech contest, and that's something that you, Julie, are coordinating for us. And that's an opportunity for high schoolers to compete in around a theme, and it's always the Rotary theme of the year, of doing an extemporaneous presentation in competition with other high school students, which will eventually lead up to a what we call a district-wide contest, where one person will be selected and they will get several $1,000s as a scholarship for college. And it's always very inspirational to see that. And we'll actually have the speech contest. I think you've got that organized for January.
Yes. Not quite the last, but the second to the last week of January.
Yeah.
Very
So,
excited.
Mike, why don't you talk about international service?
Oh, okay, great. I have been involved with a couple of projects. We currently support is it Antigua, Guatemala?
It's Amigos de Guatemala.
Amigos de Guatemala, which is an organization that has been trying to improve education and basically life in general for children in Guatemala. And it's been going on for several years. And this last year, our club sort of adopted that charity to support it on an ongoing basis. We have also worked with other clubs. So within the district, clubs will often create grants for various projects. And so other clubs can work with those clubs and support them for those grants. So we have been doing that. There's been several projects over the last several years, many of them involved with water and sanitation. So we've been doing that. This year, we decided to take on a project. We're looking at helping the Batangas Medical Center in the northern part of the Philippines to purchase a second ultrasound machine.
Wow.
Ultrasound machines are quite expensive, anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. $30,000. So we're working with clubs in that area as a result of a cultural friendship exchange with Rotarians in District 3820. So we went there in the spring of this year and made friendships, got to know them. They came over this year in November, and we spent time with them as we've developed some strong relationships. So the clubs in that area are going to partner with us. They're going to raise 20% of the funds.
Yay!
And we're going to raise 80% of the funds, and then they will oversee the actual purchase and installation of the machine and follow up. So we've been pretty active. This is going to be a very ambitious project for us, and we're going to ask all of the Rotary clubs in District 5220 to help us.
So what are the boundaries of that district? And I was going to ask you, I'm glad you said that, how many Rotary clubs are included in that district as well?
Well, there are 44 Rotary clubs in our district, which is District 5220, and it stretches from Madera on the south to Mountain House, that's past Tracy to the west. To the east, it goes all the way up to Sonora and Twain Harte. And to the north, the border is at Galt. So that's geographically a very large area. So you imagine Galt to Madera on Highway 99, you're looking at 120 miles. You know, it's fairly long.
And several of us have driven a good part of that distance for another district event, RILA. And many of us have been camp counselors. Does one of you want to talk about RILA, and especially someone that's been a counselor?
I've been a counselor in District 5180, which is just north of us. It's the Sacramento area. My wife also were a counselor. And it was sort of interesting. Compared to 5220, they separate the boys and girls. In 5180, they're together. And it's a different dynamic completely.
I bet it's different.
But when you're a camp counselor for RILA, you realize, number one, you're not going to get much sleep. Number two, it's somewhere between midnight and 6 a.m. that you can get some sleep, but even then that's iffy because kids want to talk. When you're a counselor in the cabin, they want to talk, and a lot of the issues are just very touching that they're talking about, and you're a relative stranger. But they learn, RILA's purpose is to develop leadership through a series of activities in team orientations. The particular camp that I went to and served as a counselor was a ropes course. And a ropes course is a series of different challenges that are physical, whether it's from zip lining to going over obstacles, climbing them over, and needing other people to give you assistance to be able to complete a task. And literally, as a camp counselor, you debrief the exercises, you participate in the exercises, you're there to support kids. RILA originated in Australia, in Brisbane, Australia, many years ago, and it has expanded worldwide as a Rotary activity. And it's part of our youth service. It's the whole idea that we cannot have future leaders without giving them training and activities.
Definitely. And one of the things to me that's so exciting about RILA, and you probably mentioned that it's the juniors or soon to be seniors, that we are trying to impart on them leadership skills, getting along with others, and they're put together with a group of students that they've never met before because they're from other schools throughout the district. And in our district, we have a competition where they create a project. They're given a box of objects and they create a project, and the counselor doesn't help them. They can ask us questions, but it's their project, and they design something that's going to improve things in the world. And then we also have a newspaper. Judy Leavitt, our current district governor, has always been in charge of that, and the students write amazing articles and they cover what's going on every day, and it's just a wonderful experience, and I was fortunate to do that 2 years.
Yeah, good for you. It's something that's really good. While we're talking about youth services, I'm pleased to announce that we have what is called an Interact Club at Jim Elliott High School in Lodi. It was just formally chartered last week. And the neat thing about this, it's to teach the service orientation at the high school level. Jim Elliott has a very small population, student population. I've been told by our coordinator, Geneva Mello, that almost half of the size of the class, or the Interact club, is half of the student body
Wow.
of the
Wow.
high school. And that's really pleasing to hear, to have that much interest and activity. So they're just getting started. We've got to support them, connect with them, and that's an evolving thing. We also support youth through what I would call sponsorships with the Lodi High School Jazz Band. We had them play at our Christmas party last week. They'll be also assisting us with our major fundraising event, which we call Shrimp Mania, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But we look for opportunities to support our high schools. We don't just support Lodi High School, we support Tokay, Bear Creek, also, so that they know that we support all the high schools in Lodi. We also give scholarships. Last year, we gave $3,500 in scholarships, 3 $1,000 scholarships, 1 $500 scholarship. And our intention for this coming year is to look at scholarships in terms of not targeting for scholarship the A-plus students, those that have the 4.3 grade average. We're looking at having a certain number of our scholarships also to apply to those who might be B average students, but who will be going to Delta College or who are going to take up a trade. We really think there should be more support for those kids. They're probably not advanced placement students, but they're going to be good hard workers that we need, and they need support. So our board has talked about changing the criteria for giving the scholarships, and I think we'll be probably formalizing that very shortly. Let's see what else we got on the list here. We also support the WOW Museum in Lodi, the World of Wonder Museum, Science Museum. We're giving $1,000 to them for the express purpose to pay for staff and buses to transport students to that museum. Otherwise, they wouldn't have an opportunity to go. And so that's something, one of our members, Sally Snide, is the executive director of that museum.
Yay, Sally.
Yeah,
That's
Sally's
awesome.
there. We also support Needham School. We have a long relationship with them. We've done a couple of things with them. Last year, we did what we called the Turkey Trot. We put together 40 baskets of food at a Thanksgiving for distribution, and we hand delivered it, 40 different families. And our partners were Needham School, the principal, and a number of their students. We support what is called their Perfect Attendance program. We do annually a pizza party for them, again, to celebrate. Some of these kids are so, well, how do I say, proud that they have not missed a day of school. And I think that's something to be said. In fact, the principal last year told me one kid was so sick, she didn't want the kid at school. And he says, okay, well, let me just be here for half an hour. And mother brought him in. He stayed a half an hour, and when he went back home, he says, I got perfect attendance. So,
Exciting.
yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, we also support an award of each year at Needham. It's on their in their main office of what is recognized as their leader of the year at that school. We're looking at also supporting this year the Discovery Challenge Academy. It's a program in South County of San Joaquin County. It's a partnership between the Office of Education and the California National Guard. Some call it a boot camp. Yeah, it could be that. I call it's the last chance opportunity for a number of kids who have made some really tough choices in their lives. And one of the things that they've expressed a need for is that when these students leave the program after successfully completing it, they don't have any clothes to go to an interview with. That is, they don't have a wardrobe. And they've reached out to us and have asked whether or not we could support their nonprofit to provide clothing so that that the kids can actually successfully interview.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mike, can I ask, will you talk about Polio Plus? That's probably one of the things that Rotary is most known for, as well as the Vial of Life project. And I see you have in your hand the 4-way test. We also should talk about when and where our club meets, so that if we have listeners that are interested in joining Rotary, that they have the opportunity to do that.
Sure. Let me start with when and where we meet. We meet on the second, third, and fourth Thursdays of each month at noon in Hutchins Street Square. Our first meeting of each month is something we call a date night, which is a social activity. We go to a restaurant and meet and have dinner and invite our spouses and significant others so that we can socialize and get to know each other a little bit better. The Vial of Life that you mentioned, I believe, is a project that Phil brought to our club recently, which is a great idea, and it involves trying to help first responders when they come into a home on a call. They often go to the refrigerator, and on the door is where they normally look to see if a person has put a list of medications or what they're suffering from. And so this Vial of Life is actually a little box that is magnetized and put on the refrigerator, and the first responder can open this box and they can see what medications they have, who the doctors are that care for the individual, and all those important issues. So it's a really neat project that we're excited about doing.
The only problem right now is we're trying to find a vendor who will inexpensively produce the hinged plastic box. And you would think it'd be very, very cheap to do.
It is.
And it isn't. U.S. Plastics wanted $5.60 a box, which is just outrageous.
I might have a source.
Well, let's talk off air.
From Stockton.
Yeah,
Things
let's
happen
talk
when
off
we're
air.
sharing
It's
time
childproof.
Even better. Anyway, the other two Rotary clubs in Lodi, Tokay Rotary and Lodi Sunrise, are interested in partnering with us on this project. And the whole idea is we would distribute them to assisted living centers, trailer parks. We've even talked about at the farmers market on Thursday of setting up a booth and giving them to people who are interested in doing that as a public service. And as Mike says, EMTs are trained as part of their curriculum to look for that data, because they don't want to give penicillin to someone who's allergic to that, or some sort of drug that will counter what they're actually taking. So it's a life and death situation. So anyway, we'll be spending more work on this project in the spring, because if we're going to do the farmers market, we really need to do it in the spring, and it's not even open during the winter. So.
The other thing that you asked about, Julie, was Polio Plus. That has been an ongoing project for Rotary for many, many years. We were fortunate to have Bill and Melinda Gates step up to the plate and match all of the funds that the Rotary Club raises in this effort for Polio Plus. And you can't see my hand, but we're this close, very, very close to eradicating polio in the entire world. There are still a few cases occurring in Africa, and in order for polio to be declared as non-existent, you have to go 3 years without a reportable case. So the clock is starting to run, and we're looking forward to having that happen maybe someday within the next few years. And our club is an avid supporter of Polio Plus. As a matter of fact, we just started another fundraiser where people are looking at the football game and deciding how and who's going to win, and placing some money on the team they think might win to go to Polio Plus.
And which game would that be? Is that
Super
a particular game?
Super Bowl.
I'd like to quickly change to one other thing, Julie. The Rotary is a 4-star ranked charity by Charity Navigator. Charity Navigator is a nonprofit that ranks all the nonprofits in the world. They look at their financial forms and how the money is spent, and Rotary has consistently been at the very top for effectiveness of funds spent and sustainability for many, many years.
Awesome. And Mary Ann, let's come back to you. I'd like you to tell us what the most defining, poignant moment in Rotary has been for you. If there's an experience, an event, I'd like you to talk about Corks for a Cure, and also tell us what the 4-way test is.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that. With as many years I've said it and everything, you know.
3 items.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, here we go.
Mike has your back. We all work together.
Yes,
Rotary
well, that's
is about
Rotary.
working
That's
together
Rotary. It's
to
all
make a
that.
difference.
Yeah. Okay, this is the Rotary 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. And number 1 is it the truth? Number 2 is it fair to all concerned? And number 3 is, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And that's, I think, the 4 basic rules of society. What was that book? Everything we learned in kindergarten? You know? Very, very basic. And it's outstanding. Yeah. The most defining moment of Rotary is, my goodness, oh, there's so many in 15 years, but I will go back to my daughter being selected as an exchange student with this district, with the German Rotary Club of Nuremberg. And so Jeannie was an exchange student in Fürth. And several weeks ago, we received an email. We'd lost contact with our German exchange student, Anya. And so we're now, thank goodness for the internet, so now we're back in contact with her. And she works in the German embassy in Washington, D.C.
Oh, how cool.
So it was really fun. They hosted my daughter for 3 weeks, and then we had their daughter, Anya, for 2 weeks, and it was wonderful.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome. And how about Corks for a Cure?
Oh, that's
Tell us about
exciting.
that
Oh, my
amazing
gosh. You know, when I basically went on part-time work last year after I sold my home and moved to the vineyards to finish my 2 books, and they're not finished yet. And soon, coming in 2019. I got involved in Corks for a Cure. I got a phone call from Sherry Cotta, would you come join? And so I thought, well, okay, I'll just come and see, because I have the publication of these 2 darn books. And I got involved in it because it's a worthy cause and giving back to the community. And our club, I don't know, what was it, 5 of the wives have had cancer of the breast, which is a high incident for just one Rotary club. So we decided that we would support UC Davis cancer breast research. And we chose September 29th at Clinker Brick, and then we started working diligently all summer long. And we had a very successful fundraiser at Clinker Brick. Wonderful. I believe the total, and I think it's net, is about 16,000.
I heard it was 9,500, but it could be
Oh, okay.
after expenses.
Oh, okay. So that was gross.
Yeah, I think that was gross.
Oh, that was gross. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're still impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great event, especially for the first time doing it, and it was neat to see all the women coming together. Kathy was participant as well, and we did a radio show on it, and it was just awesome. And to have one of the doctors come out from UC Davis and speak that's doing research was so inspiring about how we're making a difference. And we're just a small group of people coming together, but it's the coming together, and it grows, and I'm sure every year that's going to be bigger.
I thought what was spectacular was that at the fundraiser we had women who either had just finished chemo, radiation, and those who were just begun doing the process were able to meet in the courtyard at Clinker Brick and become friends and talk about the process so that they weren't alone. That's the whole idea, is you're not alone.
Yeah.
And we should give a shout out to everyone that participated in making that event possible and all the people that attended and donated.
Yes, and we're looking for sponsors for next year. This was the first annual.
All right, let's come back to Philip. Anything else that you would like to add that we haven't covered?
Well, you asked Marianne a question about your Rotary moment. I'd like to share mine.
Awesome. Perfect.
A number of years ago, I was a member of the Arden Arcade Rotary Club, and I put together a grant with 17 other different clubs to distribute 787 wheelchairs in Lima, Peru. And I led a group of Rotarians, there were 22 of us, to go down to Lima. And I think a lot of people don't know that they're not ready to go when they come out of shipping. They have to actually be put together with tools. And there are various types of wheelchairs, from children's wheelchairs all the way up to those who are obese. And again, they have to be adjusted, whatever. So our partner was the international partner was the Rotary Club of Lima. Well, your viewers can't see my size. I'm 6'4". I weigh 248 pounds, and they needed someone in terms of our first distribution day to lift people out of oxen carts, believe it or not, taxis, someone big who could actually do that, because I was the biggest person, in our group. So I'm out front, and a woman comes in a taxi, and I put my hand under her knees to lift her knees there, and then gently put my hand on her back so that I can then lift her and put her in a temporary wheelchair, because they have to go through processing, be photographed, whatever. Well, what happened was she went hysterical, started crying, and my Spanish isn't that good. She was rapido. I couldn't keep up with all the words. And I was thinking, did I touch her inappropriately? I didn't think I did. I mean, I was doing this with males and females. Get them out of the carts and put them in. And she's crying through the whole process. And I got someone else to temporarily take my position, because I wanted to find out what was going on until she can be calmed down and we could find out what her story was. And we had a couple of members of the Lima Club that were bilingual. And I asked one of them, would you talk to her? And I'd like to know what the story is. And the bilingual member came back to me and said, I don't think you understand. She's not upset. And I said, well, it's just, there's tears all over the place, whatever. It's just, you weren't listening to her. She was saying, finally, I will be free. And what was happening is she was on the floor all the time. She didn't have a wheelchair. And she had polio and had no control over her legs. And her existence was moving from the floor to being able to sit up. And that was my Rotary moment. It's one of saying, we changed a life today.
That's huge, and Rotary changed lives so much locally and internationally. That was beautiful. Before we move back to Mike, I just want to give a shout out to someone else that's been so poignant and important in Rotary, Dr. Joe Serra, a good friend of mine, who's been pivotal not only with wheelchairs but with the polio movement, and just incredible. His leadership in our community has been groundbreaking with helping with moving forward with these projects. So Mike, let's come back to you and ask you the same question. What's your most poignant Rotary moment?
Well, I just want to mention that Joe Serra came to our club about 2 years ago and gave us an update on some projects. He's quite a guy. I've only been in Rotary for a few years, so I haven't had a moment like Phil has had in Rotary. But I will tell you, I get lots of enjoyable things that occur as a result of Rotary. For example, I helped Marianne distribute dictionaries to the elementary schools. And seeing the joy on the faces of these kids when they receive a dictionary, and knowing that for many of them it may be the first book that they actually own, is just really rewarding. This morning on the way here, I delivered boxes of small boxes of goodies that we put together at our Christmas party to the Lowell Senior Center in Lodi. And every time I do something like that, I get this sense of satisfaction. The year before, we were asked to come to Lowell Center. They have a garden area. And about 3 years ago or 4 years ago or more, we put in raised planters for them so that they could have gardens. And about 2 years ago, they came back to us and they said, you know, we have trouble bending over to garden. Would you raise the planters for us? So a group of us got together and raised the planters up about a foot and filled them with soil and things like that. And just small things like that give me a sense of real satisfaction.
Definitely, definitely. And Mary Ann, anything else that you would like to add about Rotary? And why our listeners who might not be members want to join the Rotary Club of Lodi?
Oh, it's just so satisfying for me. You know, I'm a businesswoman. I own a local business, and it's so satisfying to give back to the community. And it's, I don't know, it's just so satisfying. It's fulfilling to help your fellow citizen, your neighbor, and you don't realize that they need help.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't.
Just speaking of that, one more item on our list here that we didn't cover. It follows exactly what Mary Ann just said. We've been involved more recently on providing funds for disaster relief, both in Groveland as well as the Carr Fire outside of Reading. And I have a feeling we're going to be involved with the Camp Fire very soon here. And it's not writing a check. It's writing a check to our district relief fund, who will then coordinate with Rotary clubs in both these areas to do very specified, targeted assistance. Some of these people don't have clothes. Their homes were burned down. They have one set of clothes. And you know, there are a number of things that these funds are going to go for. We reach out internationally, but we also reach across our own land to give assistance because we feel that's our duty.
And yesterday, I'm glad that you mentioned that, I had an organization called Hold Your Horses who's been working with the people that have suffered from the Camp Fire, and she talked about how not only have they lost their homes, they've lost their jobs, many of them have lost their cars because they couldn't get away that way soon enough. They might not have their cell phone, they don't have access to a TV, they don't know what's going on. Many of them are just in relief centers, and a lot of the people are also dealing with potentially having to give up their animals because they have no way to get food and such for them. And this organization is driving up routinely to provide care for the animals. And it was just so heartwarming and at the same time so tragic to hear what the people are going through. And so I'm excited that we're going to help.
Julie, I'd just like to make a quick comment on that. Across the street from us, we have a couple, and the woman's father was a victim of the fire, lost everything. Totally, the house was totally burned down. The gentleman's probably 90 years old, and his heart was broken because the ashes of his wife, who had preceded him in death, he thought were lost. And he found out just a couple of days ago they had sniffer dogs that go in and help, and they actually found them.
Oh,
so he's
wow.
feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing because obviously that's something, objects and most things are replaceable. Obviously that's not replaceable. And the huge emotional connection. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Mary Ann, did you want to say something?
No, not really.
Okay. Any final comments, anyone?
Well, just to let your listeners know, be prepared for a big event from the Lodi Rotary Club in 2021, April of it, if I remember correctly. That's our 100th year centennial. We will have a major project that we'll be doing in the community. What we're going to be doing, we haven't decided yet, but it will be a major project. And there'll be a lot of publicity about that, a lot of activities, opportunities for people to join and participate. And then one item I said I'd talk about later, our annual fundraiser is January 26th at the Japanese American Culture Citizen Center. We call it Shrimp Mania, and it's a pretty good dinner. It's Cajun style shrimp. It'll be pasta, whatever. We'll be auctioning off some very nice prizes. There's an opportunity for entertainment and good cheer. Our tickets are $55, and that includes the complete dinner. And please, if you're interested, you can go to our website or Facebook, Lodi Rotary 95240. If you go to that site, you can get tickets to our event.
Excellent. And Mike, any final comments?
Just one thing. We would be amiss if we didn't offer to invite anybody that's listening to this radio broadcast to come visit our club. Join us for lunch. The lunch will be on us. If what we have been talking about is something that stirs your heart, then come join us and see what Rotary is all about.
And Mary Ann, once again, when and where do we meet?
We meet Tuesday at noon.
Thursday.
Oh, excuse me. Thursday at noon. Every Tuesday, second, third, fourth of the month. It's an hour meeting?
Yep.
Huh?
And we're at 125 South Hutchins Street,
Right.
at Hutchins Street Square. The Rotary shield is outside the door. You can't miss it. And I agree with Mike and Mary Ann. Please, if you are curious about Rotary, come and have a visit. It doesn't mean you're committing to join. Just find out what we're about.
But we'd love for you to join us because united we can achieve more and just make a huge difference in the community, both locally and beyond and internationally.
We have ages from 18
Yes.
to what as members?
Oh, yeah. To
So-
94.
To 94. So age is not a hinder.
And everyone has a role to fill, as my friend Roy Morales would say, that everyone can contribute something.
Correct.
One other thing, Julie, I'd like to bring into play. We live in Lodi. It's sort of one of the wine centers of California, and we have many members in our club that are either owners of wineries or grape growers, and they're also very generous and support many of our functions. As an example, Larry Metler let us use his facility for our oyster and steak feed last year, and we just really benefit from the Lodi community.
And it's awesome, and again, it's all about working together to make a difference. I encourage any of our viewers or listeners to come and join us on a Thursday at Hutchins Street Square, second, third, or fourth Thursday from 12 to 1. And come and talk to us, come hear more about what we do, come volunteer with us at an event. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I am the voice of Stockton. You are the voice of Stockton. We are the voice of Stockton. Let's make it a great day.
Thank you.